Hi, I'm Chris Bray from Bray Chan. Today I want to talk to you a bit about valuing a dental practice. Now there are a lot of different methods out there for valuing a dental practice. This is a really basic one. The idea of this video is to give you a really basic technique to take away and apply to the numbers that you've got from the vendor and come up with a range of figures that you could consider offering that would make sense given your financial circumstances. This is not intended to cover aspects like the location of the practice, the types of services, the pricing of those services, the age of the equipment, whether the practice is a preferred provider. There's a whole lot of things that you need to consider that are outside the scope of this video. The idea of this, again, is just to give you a basic technique to take away, to look at the numbers, to make sure that you're on the same wavelength with the vendor. So hopefully it's of some use. Of course, for a more detailed valuation, come and talk to us and we can run you through in a bit more detail. Thank you. So I suggest the best place to start is to grab a copy of the last 2 or 3 years worth of financial statements prepared by the accountant of the dentist. What you're looking for is the profit and loss statement. The profit and loss statement gives you an idea of the performance of the practice over a period of time, usually separated into financial years. And abbreviated to FY. So FY18 means the year ended 30th of June 2018. The first thing you want to look for is consistency and a bit of growth, preferably, in profits. The more consistent a practice is, the more attractive it is for you. What we're looking for is big drops in the revenue, and we need some sort of explanation around those drops. Secondly, we look to make adjustments to that profit figure. If the practice uses a service entity, I'd also get a copy of its profit and loss statements. We also look for things like personal expenses of the dentist, so questionably large travel expenses, big superannuation contributions, potentially employing related parties of the dentist, and we look to add them back to the profit because they really are the personal expenses of the dentist and they're not an expense that you would be up for if it was your practice. So now that we've got a few years worth of profits that we're comfortable with, take the average of those 3 years and calculate what we would consider to be the maintainable earnings. The idea of the maintainable earnings is it's the sort of level of profit that you could rely on if you took on the practice and got it bedded down. So you might not experience that straight away, but we might expect in 6 to 12 months, that's the sort of profit that you could expect to earn. Next, we need to consider your current income. So what we need to work out is, what are we comparing this profit to? That is, if you weren't going ahead and buying this practice, what sort of income would you expect to be earning? So it might not be what you're earning now, which often is maybe as a contractor where you're pocketing 40% of what you bill, but you might have your eye on another job, or you might have your eye on a slightly more lucrative position. Basically, choose the figure that you think is the most likely alternative if you decided not to buy a practice. Lastly, subtract the maintainable earnings from your current income. So that is, how much extra could you likely earn if you bought this practice? Let's call that the super profit. So the super profit is basically your reward for taking on a bit of extra risk, going above and beyond what you're doing now. So now we're down to valuation. The question is, how much would you be prepared to pay for that extra bit of income over and above your existing income? I would suggest that the place to start is to multiply that figure by 3 to work out the lower end of what you'd pay for this business. Then multiply it by 4 to work out the higher end of what you'd pay for the business. And that probably forms the range that you'd consider. Obviously, the closer you can get to 3 times the earnings, the better off you're going to be. Now let me run you through a quick example. In the example, we see the cheesy grin dentist. Apologies if there is a practice called this. Any resemblance is completely unintentional, but interesting name. Now they do have a service entity, so you can see that I've added the service entity profit back each year. The vendor has also explained that they made super contributions of $20,000 per annum in each of the years we're looking at. You can see that the last few years of patient fees have been steady, along with the resulting profits, which looks good. The average overall income after adjustments is around $400,000, and we'll adopt that as the maintainable earnings. Now I'm assuming that you currently earn a net $200,000 as a contract dentist and would likely continue in that practice or a similar practice if the purchase fell through. So the super profit in this example would be $400,000 less $200,000, which equals $200,000 per annum. If we multiply $200,000 by 3, we arrive at $600,000, being the lower end of the range you'd consider. If we multiply $200,000 by 4, we arrive at $800,000, being the higher end of the range you consider. So I'd expect that somewhere between $600,000 and $800,000 would be fair, tending towards the lower end if possible, of course. Needless to say, there are a whole lot of other things that could affect the valuation, such as the fair value of the rents, the age and condition of the plant and equipment, depreciation, employee entitlements, to name just a few. If you get to the stage where you're thinking, well, that looks like a pretty attractive practice, come and talk to us and we'll help you work through some of those issues. Now, I hope that this video has been of some use. Good luck in buying your dental practice, and would really love to hear any feedback, good or bad, about this video, and of course any requests for others. So that's it from me today. Good luck and thanks for watching.